Welcome to the Pete Nathan podcast, After Dark, man. And we had a podcast earlier today about the Green Bay Packers and the Philadelphia Eagles wild card take, with Ruckshak and Anand from NFL Masala. Y'all can go check it out. It's going to be the podcast before this. It was called Wild Card Round 2, right? But today, we're not here for that. We're here to ask a more serious question. And the question is, were the Philadelphia Eagles selfish in not letting Saquon Barkley get his record? Saquon Barkley had 2,005 yards. He's been getting yards after yards after yards in every single game. He had 345 carries. It's the most amount of carries he's got. And Nick Sirianni, before this week, right? This already happened. The Eagles season is over. He cannot get this record anymore. Nick Sirianni came out and said he is not going to, risk Saquon Barkley get an injury because they have bigger goals in mind. Now, the bigger goals will be getting to the NFC Championship, going to the Super Bowl, and possibly winning the Super Bowl. Here's the kicker. You can get to the NFC Championship a lot of times. You can even go to the Super Bowl and get an appearance or even win it. But it's rarely you're going to get a chance to beat Eric Dickerson's record of 2,105 yards, right? And Eric Dickerson came out and said he didn't want Saquon Barkley beating it. So the decision came from top, and I know this decision came from Jeffrey Lurie, and he might have had a hand in some of the NFL commissioners, not the commissioners. There's only one commissioner. The NFL commissioner. It might be some political aspects here, like I'm speculating. Of course, it might be. They might say, "Hey, we can't let you beat ED's record." And maybe that's what come down to Nick Sirianni down the pipeline. Because we know for a fact, if you are an Eagles fan, if you follow this team or been following this team for a while, you know the head coaches don't really have any power in Philadelphia, right? Doug really didn't have any power. Once he wanted some power, they got him out of here, right? And he won a Super Bowl. Like, Nick's been to a Super Bowl not because of him. It's because of the players. It's not because of the X's and O's, but it's because of the Jims and Joes. And that's why we won. That's why we won the first time, right? The X's and O's mattered a little bit in 2017, but the second time we couldn't pull it off because our defense was not doing the job. So coming back to my point, Saquon Barkley had a chance to basically get 100 yards. He's been basically doing that every game, and he had a chance to do it against his old team, right? Now, some of the arguments people want to make is when Saquon already had 176 yards and 17 carries when they were playing the Giants in, I don't know, week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, week 6, I believe, Nick asked him, do you want to get more yards? He said, no, let the young guns eat, because Saquon is an unselfish player. But when you asked him last week, right before the game, not right before the game, that right before the lead to the game of that week, he gave all the right answers, right? But he did say his family is not too happy. And his body language basically showed you everything, how he was feeling. Now, I understand. The bigger goal is to go to the Super Bowl and win, right? But you can do both. This has been argued by many players, analysts, what have you. Okay? Stephen A. Smith doesn't agree with it. Shannon Sharp don't agree with it. Seth Joyner don't agree with it because they know you can do both. Because in 1998, Terrell Davis rushed for over 2,000 yards, and they went out there to win the Super Bowl. So we could have done that. Plus, if you rush and get that record, right, you now have a record that's gonna be there for a long time. right? It's not going to be broken. Plus, it's going to be a record that belongs to Philadelphia also. So I don't like the scary mentality of not going for the record and, like, just resting the starters. I don't even like the scary mentality of not even playing some of these players in the preseason, right? To get some form, to have a feel for the game. If Tom Brady plays the preseason, if Patrick Mahomes plays the preseason, who are you to not play at least one or two series of the preseason, right? Now, I really hope this game against the Packers, Jalen gets the rust off. Saquon rushes for about 100 yards or more, and then he keeps going, and we get to the big one, and then we win. Because if you don't get to the big one, you've lost, right? If you get to the NFC Championship and you lose, Saquon's going to feel some kind of way, right? And another thing, if Saquon Barkley makes a mistake, if Saquon makes a mistake and it costs the game, you cannot be mad at Saquon Barkley. And here's why. You didn't let him get the rushing record, right? You were selfish about, okay, let's advance to the playoffs. Let's go make more noise in the playoffs without realizing you have greatness right in front of you to achieve, right? You should achieve that. Now, yes, there's a chance of players getting hurt. A.J. Brown got hurt last year right before we went to the playoffs, and we lost the playoffs. We lost the playoffs not just because A.J. Brown got hurt. We lost that game because our whole team wasn't playing well, right? Down the stretch, after we got beat by the Niners, I think we basically lost and forgot how to play football. We didn't want to tackle. We didn't want to play sound football. And we were making a lot of mistakes. And then to make matters worse, there was a lot of coaching changes and whatnot by the general manager. So, I'm just an Eagles fan, just sounding it out, man. If you have let Saquon Barkley beat that record and get the record, you would have had a more energetic running back that would run through a brick wall for you, right? Now, I don't know if I can say the same about him right now. I think he still will, and I'm hoping I'm wrong, right? I'm hoping I'm wrong in all of this. We go to the Super Bowl, we win it. This team is very talented. The defense is very talented. The offense is also heating up at the right time. If Jalen gets his rust off, man, this team is going to be a hard team to beat. I really believe we can beat the Detroit Lions. If we got the Minnesota Vikings, I think we can beat them also. And we can beat the Buccaneers if we happen to run into them into the divisional playoffs, because I think this team is equipped to beat a team like the Buccaneers, because last time we played the Buccaneers, there was no Cooper DeJean. This time we got a Cooper DeJean. They're playing a little bit more sound football, so I think we got a better chance to beat the Bucs, better chance to beat the Lions, and then I think we have a better chance to even match up against a team like the Kansas City Chiefs, the Buffalo Bills, or if it's, round 2 against the Ravens, I think we got a better chance, right? If you would have let Saquon Barkley get the record. Now, the mental psyche is not what it used to be, right? He loved this team. But you cannot tell me he hasn't lost a little bit of respect for Nick Sirianni. Now, he's a smart guy. Saquon's a smart guy. He knows Nick Sirianni ain't running shit. Right? Anybody in that Eagles locker room, they know Nick Sirianni ain't running shit. Right? They know he's a puppet. Right? That's the conundrum, because we are about to lose Kellen Moore this year. Whether the season ends this Sunday or whether the season ends in February and we get a ring, because somebody gonna hire him off. And then we left again with Nick Sirianni. So the players know Nick ain't shit because they know they went through that last year, right? Nick couldn't fix the offense. So I think they're going to regret it. But I hope they don't. With that said, man, I just hope Saquon just goes ham in the playoffs. But if this affects us negatively, it's because you did not let Saquon get the rushing record. And you could have made history. You could have beaten Eric Dickerson record of 40 years, which was 1984. My fiance she was born in 1984. That's when Eric Dickerson broke the record, 1984. I know every running back that comes through the NFL wants to break that record. And running back is another position that we got to talk about. It's devalued, right? It's been devalued for a long time. And by teams not letting these guys get at least their yards to get the record, it's extremely selfish, right? Like I'll give you a good scenario. Like LeGarrette Blount won 2 rings and had 18 touchdowns and over 1,200 yards before he came to the Eagles as a free agent that was picked up in June. He was not even one of the top free agents, right? And then he came to the Eagles, and then he went and helped us win a Super Bowl, win our first Super Bowl. So the running backs are devalued. After these guys hit 30, basically they can't do anything right. That's just how the league looks at it. That's just how everybody's programmed to look at it now, right? We as fans don't individually think about each player. We as fans, we don't individually like, you know what? Maybe Saquon wants that record, man. You know what I mean? If Saquon gets it, it'll be that much better going into the playoffs because we will go in with that momentum. Because he is really our weapon. Because when Saquon gets going, Jalen can work off of that. And Jalen has been heating up pretty good till he got knocked out against the Redskins, right? I'm going to call them Redskins because they're about to get that name back, the Commanders, right? With that said, man, let's see what happens this week. I just hope we beat the Packers and, Saquon's psyche is good and we'll move on to the divisional playoffs. With that said, we all we got, we all we need. Fly, Eagles, fly.